This podcast is part of the Planet Broadcasting Network.
Visit planetbcasting.com for more podcasts from our great mates.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Do Go On. My name is Dave Warnocky and I'm here with Matt Stewart and Jess Perkins. Team, how are you doing?
Team, doing pretty well, thank you.
I'm going.
No, Matt, you have to start the sentence with team.
Okay. Team.
You can speak normally after that.
Right.
It's kind of like when you speak into a walkie-talkie and you have to say over
Okay.
at the end, but
At
now
the
you
end.
have to say team at the start and then over at the end.
Okay.
Please, over.
Team. Going well. I forgot the question. Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, this is no good.
This is no good.
Over.
What have I done?
What have you done?
I'm sorry.
But it is,
So this week's episode is sort of about a secret that builds up to that. But I just for a little bit of sizzle on that, I was gonna read out the opening paragraph from a Washington Post article about this story.
wow,
Which
this is cool.
which really got me hooked into it very quickly. I should say this was suggested by listener Josh at Josh Jones 87 on Twitter. He suggested a few, and I think this might be the first one that's got through.
Good on
you,
you, Josh. Spam that hat.
We just said the same thing.
Oh my goodness.
What are the odds?
With somebody that you spend so much time with that we would possibly think the same thing.
But do you really know me
I think I do.
after the way I treated that boy in high
Point.
school?
Do you reckon we are the people that you spend the most time with, aside from your girlfriend who you live with?
And your workmates?
Oh, good one. Fuck.
Yeah,
well
I'm at
played.
work 47 hours a week.
Yeah, it's probably a lot.
But socially,
Peter,
I'd put
is
this on
Peter
social.
Hellier number 2 after you? If would he be second in charge if your girlfriend left your house?
Yeah, would you?
Yep, I trust Pete. He's a great guy.
Oh, God.
Okay, so this is the opening paragraph from. It's a very short paragraph, really, but it's from this Washington Post article I quite enjoyed.
Okay.
I read a bunch of articles I quite enjoyed because this is a real fascinating story. Anyway, here it goes. Small towns are reputed to be close, almost like family. Residents stick together. They have your back. They protect you. They keep your secrets.
Oh, yeah!
Oh.
This is fucking cool, and I'm jealous of the listener because they've seen what this episode's called.
The episode is called. Well, I don't know what the episode's going to be called. I'll probably ask you guys what it should be
But
called.
that is a cool. That would suck me in too.
But the episode is about, or the suggestion was, just 2 words, the name of this man, Ken McElroy.
McElroy?
He's already stuffed it.
Have I built up enough
Tension.
suspense and tension?
It's the secret that you've been mispronouncing his name the whole time.
Yeah, it's written in this report a lot. If you guys... Anyway,
McElroy.
Have you
McElroy.
heard of Ken McElroy? I
I've
haven't.
not.
Ken Rex McElroy was
Ugh.
born on June the 1st, 1934, in Nodaway County, Missouri, in the United States of America.
Oh.
The old US of
A.
America. I've read that he was the 15th child in a family of 16, but I've also read that he was one of 13 kids.
Both too many kids. You know how I feel about big families.
Yeah. Do they know what was causing it? That's my favourite joke of all time.
No, don't say that. Dad'll hear that and go, it's so
Oh,
funny.
it was a John joke.
It's a John joke.
That's great.
Do I know what's causing
Johnny
I love
Perkins.
it. I love it. Good on you, John. You're funny. That's where your daughter gets it.
Ken's parents were farmers named Tony and Mabel.
it? Mabel.
Great names.
Tony's pretty good.
You don't get enough
Hang
Mabels.
on, but Tony was the one who I was a secret for, so his name was Tony. So,
You named and shamed.
yeah, fuck it. But Mabel, good name.
Tony's also the one who's been causing it. But they don't know what it is.
It took me a sec, but now I get it. Sex.
Yeah, with Mabel. The best kind.
He grew up in Skidmore in the northwest of Missouri, about 100 miles from Kansas City.
I'd nickname the town Skidmark.
Skidmark. Ooh.
Oh, derogatory.
Skidmore is a really small town. It's got a population that has steadily shrunk from around 500 at the 1940 census to an estimated 272 around in 2015, a couple of years
Wow,
ago.
So the rest of them got flushed. It's a skid park. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Oh no! I thought you were talking about cars.
Oh.
So you were like, what could that possibly have to do with cars?
I'm confused by both of you.
I'm sorry. I'll stop contributing.
He dropped out of school in year 8 at the age of 15, and over the following decades, he established a reputation in the town as a real bad guy. Being accused of burglary of things like booze, grain, petrol, and livestock. He's a cattle rustler.
That's stealing
Which-
quite a bit
Um,
of a real variety of.
apparently, he's also a bit of
thieving.
a raccoon hunter.
Sure.
Is that legal?
I think that one might be fine. I don't think that was on
Right.
his rap sheet.
That was just on his list of hobbies.
Yeah, I think that's how he made some of his some of his money.
He also enjoyed NFL.
To be honest, there's been like across all the reports there were inconsistencies throughout, but there were things that sort of flowed through them all. So I've tried to keep it all together. I think the story is relatively level, but let me go on. He was reportedly always basically unemployed, yet never short of cash. He used to carry around wads of cash.
Is that because he's a criminal? He's getting
So,
money from
I think the
from
idea
rustling?
is that he. Yeah, there was one wag who said when someone was wags that's what people say sometimes when someone says a funny quip.
They're a wag.
Oh, what a wag! And it's an old person term.
Right. So
That's why
you'd know
I
it.
said it. Yeah. Someone had said that he was talking about some of the jobs he had. He used to sell antiques and stuff, and a local goes, "Yeah, but whose antiques?"
Jeez.
What a
And he's-
wag!
Good on you,
Dave,
Wag.
jump in.
And Teeks. That's like his first and surname.
Dave's a bit of a wag.
Oh, isn't he just- Can we all do that anytime one of us makes a joke now for the rest of the episode? That will not get boring to the listeners at all.
Very good.
I'm voting no,
Okay, interesting.
but
This is a democracy, so I respect that.
it wasn't like he escaped the attention of the authorities, though. On 21 occasions, charges were brought upon him, but on every occasion, he escaped conviction.
21 times.
Blackjack.
Yeah. All right, you know the rules. 21 times off, you can't get me for anything.
Basically, anyway.
What do you mean that's not a rule? Sorry, Matty.
That's all right. I'm just remembering. You guys are like, how are your short reports always so long? It's because I think you guys quip after every sentence and sometimes mid sentence, which is fine. I enjoy it, but I'm just.
Can I just stop you there to do a quip? Jess.
Can I just quip you there?
I'll quip you right there, sir.
So I said 21, but yeah, on the 21st occasion was a little bit different. And I'll talk about that later. His attorney, Richard McFadden, later said that he defended Ken Rex from about 3 or 4 felony convictions a year.
Oh, so he's keeping him in work, practically. Is he just following Ken around?
I think, yeah,
Just like
so
picking up cases?
he's from one of the bigger towns in the state, but I think he must just come down he's on retainer.
Oh, Ken, how are you?
Yep, what do
All
we
right.
got? What do you got for me?
Yeah, what are we doing? Give me a wad of cash.
Oh, you've had a haircut.
He's also, apparently he bragged about how he's also defended members of the mob as well. This guy, so he got bad people off. I'm being a bit judgy there. I don't know if the mob are necessarily bad people.
He got bad people off, did he?
Everyone's got their price. That's classic wag.
That is a classic wag.
What a quip.
Whip.
What a whip.
His lawyer was obviously very good at getting criminals off. But that wasn't the only reason McElroy escaped conviction on serious charges every year. He became known as the town bully. That was his nickname, the town bully.
What a nickname.
As
Boy,
it-
Town Bully, what are you having?
Yeah.
Pint? I'll get it for you.
Maybe he might have become known as that. Yeah, it would be weird if people were calling
To
it
his
themselves.
TB. Wait, TB, what up?
Damn Bully.
But he got that nickname as he would intimidate any townspeople who stood up to him or disagree with him, and this included people who were set to testify against him in court. No, he wasn't afraid to resort to violence either, or threats of violence.
I wonder how he would intimidate. Like maybe he would just put on a sheet and stand at their door and go, "Ooh."
He was a huge guy, big tall guy, big muscly guy,
Okay,
big,
so more like,
big bushy.
"Ooh."
Yeah. Whoa.
Brr.
Brr. One of the ways apparently that he often did it, apart from going, "Hey, check out my gun," he'd
Hey, check out my gun. I'm not testifying.
he would also follow witnesses and accusers around, park outside their homes, and just watch them.
Good. That is intimidating. That's
feels
actually
like
really
it-
fucking
That is
scary.
fucked,
But it
right?
feels like it should be illegal. Shouldn't they stop him from this?
Yeah, well, this is the main thing. It seems like the cops hassled him a lot, and charges were brought against him, but he kept getting off. He never was put away, but he spent a lot of time in the legal system. In 1976, when McElroy was accused... Can you hear the slight pause every time
Yeah.
before I say his
You're
name?
thinking about it.
Yeah.
It's like every time I say Thames.
McElroy. It's a great name, but geez, it looks like McElroy. No, it doesn't. McElroy. In 1976, when McElroy was accused of shooting local farmer Romaine Henry in the chest, he was charged with assault with intent to kill. So apparently the story was that McElroy was on this guy Henry's property, and Henry's going, "Mate, piss off. Get off my property." And he goes, "Nah," and shot him.
Fair enough.
Look, to be honest, I'm kind of
You're
paraphrasing,
paraphrasing it,
but
but-
that's basically what it was. According to Henry, in the lead up to the trial, McElroy parked outside Henry's home on more than 100 occasions.
100.
This is according to Henry. I don't know if
Is this
Henry was...
After shooting him 100 times, he parked at the front.
Yeah,
Do you know what?
going,
That's,
you should drop these charges or
that's
whatever.
really scary. Yeah.
100 times.
Oof.
But yeah, I don't... This is Henry's word. I don't know who he is and whether or not he's prone to hyperbole. Hyperbole.
There we go.
Did it work?
Was
Did
he
drop the
intimidated?
Yeah, did he drop the charges?
He didn't drop the charges.
Legend.
Henry was like, "Nah, mate." But in court, 2 raccoon hunters gave McElroy an alibi,
What?
testifying they were with McElroy the day of the shooting. McElroy was acquitted.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So again, he wasn't able to intimidate Henry, but maybe he was able to
Wow.
influence the raccoon hunters.
God damn.
When McElroy was in his late 30s, maybe I'll call him Ken Rex, because that's what he was sort of known as around town.
Whatever's more comfortable for you.
When Ken Rex was in his late 30s, he'd already fathered more than 10 children to multiple women,
Oh.
and he was married to his third wife, Alice.
Oh.
Yeah, this bit's a bit fucked, sorry.
10 kids.
Not that bit, this next bit.
No.
Yes, Jess is already like, oh no.
Oh, I forget, yeah, you
yuck.
don't like having a lot of kids, even if it's in multiple families?
No, that's. I don't. No. It's more that he's just got all these different women. Put
Yeah.
all of these different women in a very difficult situation.
In different, just a big, intimidating
Yeah,
guy.
it's not
And it's
nice.
just, I mean, without knowing the facts.
Lucky third wife Alice.
Yeah, well.
Yay. Okay. Oh no. Alice does not fare well.
No, Alice is. Okay.
Okay.
So at this time, he's married to his third wife, Alice. Alice, I've read, she can't even be sure if they were legally married or not. But anyway.
She can't be sure.
That's
Yeah.
some wedding night. I don't even know if I got married yesterday. Woo!
Anyway, so at this time, he met a 12-year-old girl named Trina McLeod.
No.
And within a couple of years,
No.
she was pregnant.
Oh no.
He then brought Trina to his house to live with him and Alice.
Oh.
He
she's
divorced.
14.
Yeah, he divorced Alice to marry Trina. But they still lived together.
What?
Apparently, this was because, as his wife, the court wouldn't be able to compel Trina to testify against him in the statutory rape case.
Oh,
But, like-
God.
But you also can you marry a 14-year-old?
As she was underage,
Oh.
though, he wasn't able to marry her without parental consent. So there are a few conflicting versions of what happened next, but many of them suggest that Ken Rex went to her parents' house while they were away, shot the family dog, and burnt the house down.
Oh shit!
Whoa.
Why?
To get them to say yes.
Some say that he did that after he'd sort of intimidated them, and some of them said before to try and intimidate them into saying yes. Some said that he did that, they still refused, and he threatened to burn down their new house, and that's what got them to... Like, there was a few different sort of stories, and a lot of them come back to, like, there's a lot of different articles about this, but they're quoting very few sources, so it's hard to know exactly what to trust. In a People magazine article, Trina angrily denied that Ken burnt down her stepfather's house, saying it was an unfounded rumour. She said it was just faulty wiring.
She's 14. She doesn't know what unfounded means.
Yeah, I mean, she's saying this years later, but at the time, who knows, if he's keeping that from her. Like, I don't think she was there.
Yeah.
So it's just hard to know.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, I'm hoping that something really bad's going to happen to this dude.
However,
Matt gave no clues then with his face.
it did happen. She got consent from the parents, and they were married. And charges against McElroy at that time for statutory rape and arson, amongst other things, didn't stick. That was some of those earlier charges that didn't result in jail time or any conviction at all. In 1980, this is sort of where it starts hotting up a bit. This is kind of the key part of the story. In 1980, at a grocery store in town, one of Ken Rex's daughters got in a fight with a worker at the shop named Evelyn Sumi. Did that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Fuck. In 1980, at a grocery store in town, one of McElroy's daughters got caught up in an argument with a worker at the shop. Her name was Evelyn Sumi. The argument was allegedly about McElroy's daughter trying to steal some candy, apparently. The store was owned by an elderly couple named Ernest and Lois Bowen.
Okay. Without knowing anything about them, I love them.
Can you imagine them sitting up the back of the store like in rocking chairs?
Ernest and Lois. They
Beautiful.
are so cute. I reckon they do crosswords together every Sunday morning.
There is some sort of vibe about those.
I reckon they're bloody adorable. They're just like a sweet old couple, you know?
I just trust them.
I reckon they're still in love. After all this time, you know? Like he still makes her laugh and, you know?
I know.
Oh, God, I love them. Sorry, Matt, do go on.
No, that's fine. I agree.
I just want to be like Ernest and Lois. I mean, I can only...
Apparently they were very well loved in the
Oh,
town.
of course they were.
Ernest's nickname was Bo.
Oh, I was going to call him
Bo,
Ernie,
yeah.
but Bo's
Yeah.
good.
You're not going to love this next bit.
Oh, no.
After the incident, Ken Rex started stalking the Bowen family. The stalking escalated into McElroy confronting Ernest Bowen armed with a shotgun. And the confrontation ended with McElroy shooting the 70-year-old Bowen in the neck.
I'd like to say that Ernest pulled through, but I'm guessing he probably didn't.
Bowen lived.
No.
Yeah.
A further 8 minutes.
Did he really?
He did. He lived, yeah.
Oh, I'm so happy.
This guy's not a great shot. He shot a dude in the chest, didn't
He
die.
lived. Shot in the neck.
With a shotgun. Jesus.
And McElroy was then charged with attempted murder. after that. This was the 21st charge I was talking about before.
Lucky 21.
And it went to
Oh.
trial where McElroy was convicted
Unlucky 21.
of the lesser charge of assault
Okay.
for some reason.
Well, I mean, we'll take a win where we can, I
Yeah.
guess. Oh, I'm just so glad Bo's alive.
Bo's alive.
I've
that
never
point.
been so immediately invested in a person in one of our stories, but I just wanted him to be okay. And then when
Thank
he's not
God he
gonna like
was.
this, and then he got shot, I was like, I don't know what the world is anymore. But he's okay. He's probably dead now, though.
Yeah, I think
He
so.
was 70 in
that-
1980.
1980, so.
Yeah, he's probably dead.
There's a possibility.
Oh, no, he could still be kicking.
I guess, but he had a good innings regardless, I reckon.
Anyway, this is similar to an episode we had like a month or so back when it was one of mine as well, I think, where for some reason, so he's found guilty, basically. He's convicted. But his lawyer filed an appeal, and he was released on bail, pending the
Fuck.
appeal.
No.
I don't know.
Let him out.
I know.
It seems so weird. It's like once you've been convicted, it feels like then...
You got to prove your innocence, pal. We proved you're guilty already.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels a bit funny. Anyways, after
But we'll
being...
let you out until you can prove you're innocent. That makes no sense at all.
Yeah, I don't quite
Righto.
get it. And in this case, yeah, it's like especially with it's a guy who just shot someone in a shop. What, you're just releasing him back into the community? You found him guilty. He's convicted, as far as I understand. It almost makes it sound like Anyway, it's very confusing.
Very confusing.
After being released, McElroy went to the D&G Tavern. That was his local drinking hole.
The D&G. D and G?
D&G.
The...
Dogs and gods.
Fuck, you nailed it in one.
You don't...
The D&G. The Doors and Gargoyles. Not my best.
Admittedly.
You were so fast. You didn't even... Try again.
Dogs and gods.
A different one. Dave and Gods.
The duck and goose.
Fuck, he's good. That's adorable. I'd go
Duck
to the,
and Goose is really
I'd go to
good.
the Duck and
I
Goose.
bet you that's a pub in
It has
England
to be.
somewhere,
Has to
right?
be. Okay, all right. Here we go again. The
David and Goliath.
Fuck! How are you so good at this? You're so talented. Okay, all right. I got it. I got it. The
Dolce and Gabbana.
Oh, yes! Right there, the D&G.
The I want to get one.
Have we done Dog and Gun?
No.
No, that's a good one.
That's a good one. That's a real one. I've been there in
Oh, I thought this was what this one's going to be called.
in England.
Do you know what it's called?
I should really look that up. You should see it though. It looks like a shed. No, I don't.
Think of one.
I can't think of a single one. The
I think you just by the end of the episode, maybe
don't give me
I think
time.
we'll finish the episode with your.
Oh, that sounds great.
No.
We'll go out with that right at the end because
no.
I think that'll be a nice little bow.
So Jess will be silent for the next 35 minutes. What do you think about this?
D&G. Okay. But see, it's got to be. They can't be rhyming, but they got to go together like Duck and Goose, David and Goliath, Dolce and Gabbana. These are all good ones. Okay, who's a famous person that has the letters D and G? Okay, hang on. Okay, no, I got no.
Dahmer and Greg.
That's the best laugh I've ever heard Dave do. He really got into it.
I loved her. Fuck, like, God damn it. She's so pissed off.
No, I'm not. I'm in awe and mad at myself. Anyway, go on with the story.
So he went drinking at the D&G.
Yes, this is his sort of regular. He'd often sit there, and I read that people who worked there said he'd often be pretty quiet. He was kind of not intimidating and like quite loud. He'd be more likely to whisper at you and just
that is
stare at it,
intimidating.
like stare with his dead eyes. People called his eyes dead eyes a lot. Stared at you with his dead eyes and whispered.
That's scary.
So he's a whisperer, a quiet starer. Does he have friends, do you reckon? Does anyone like him? Or is people just scared of him?
Yeah, I mean, he's from a big family, but I think he gets on all right with some of his kids chose to live with him after they split with ex-partners. But, there's not...
Dad's house is more fun, Mum. Dad has the guns. You just try to make me eat vegetables. Do my homework.
Dad just shoots the vegetables.
Dad lets me shoot cans and sometimes other kids.
Anyway, so he was at the D&G Tavern, local...
Having a couple
Drinking
of
hole.
bevies.
And he was there armed with a rifle and at just the bar, drinking there with his gun.
Of course he was.
And allegedly started mouthing off a bit about what he was going to do to punish Ernie Bowen Camp
Uh-oh. That's the one Jess likes.
for the part he played in his arrest, basically. And I think as far as I can tell, the only part he really played in the arrest was being shot in the neck.
Yeah. For getting in the way of my bullets.
Yeah, which is...
What? Leave Ernie alone. I like him.
His appeal, I think the lawyer was sort of using tactics to delay the appeal to sort of extend his freedom before the trial. That's how I read it
So
anyway.
that the lawyers do a lot of, what's that?
Yeah. Oh,
What's that out there? Look.
no, court adjourned. Do it for a whole sitting day in the court. That's what they do.
Oh,
Have
Your
sitting
Honour,
days.
I would love to do this trial today, but I forgot my pen.
It's over there. Look.
He spent 6 hours going, look, mister, we looked, we're not going to look again. And he's like, no, this one, I'm serious.
I swear, this time,
For
no, I'm
6
serious.
hours, him
Yeah.
going, I swear, I
6
swear.
hours.
They look and he's like, yeah, 5 o'clock, gotta go.
Back to the D&G. On a summer's morning in 1981, McElroy had his appeal hearing delayed again, extending his freedom. In response, the townspeople were getting a bit, anxious about it, feeling a bit antsy, maybe a little bit peeved even. They weren't sure that justice has been done over the last 21 attempts to put this guy away.
Interesting they may feel that way.
So in response, the townspeople met at the Legion Hall.
Oh, a town meeting about him.
Yes, organised by the townsfolk.
Townsfolk is also just a fun thing to say, isn't it?
It
Can't
is
say that
fun.
in Melbourne. Come along, townsfolk. There's too many of us in a small town.
Not
When
even the
there's
MCG's going to hold us all.
300 and something people, then you can.
Townsfolk.
And they keep talking about it like this town, because it's so small, it's really close. It's like a big family. Everyone knows each other. Everyone is sort of looking out for each other.
They're probably all related.
But they just see this guy. He's just been a real bad seed. So at the Legion Hall meeting, what they talked about isn't 100% clear now. But from what I heard, most are saying that things were discussed about what they could do to keep the witnesses safe, and also the townspeople safe from Ken Rex
That's
in general.
insane that he's that, that scary and that they have to...
That 30, 40, 50, however many people are meeting to talk about. It's like
Yeah.
it's really interesting. And apparently a local sheriff, the local county sheriff Dan Estes was there as well. It is said that Sheriff Estes instructed the meeting that they shouldn't get into a direct conflict with McElroy, said that's a bad idea, and he suggested they instead form a neighbourhood watch, and then he left the meeting, apparently.
Smart.
While the meeting was occurring, McElroy rocked up to the nearby D&G Tavern again. So he's
always at the pub.
he's had his court thing delayed, case, if you will.
I
Appeal.
prefer court thing.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Your Honour, I'm here for that court thing.
Your Honor. Is that a Missourian?
No, that was
accent?
a terrible accent.
Yeah. Was that attempted an American accent of sorts?
Yeah, I thought it was
What would I don't know what
Nondescript?
the Missourian accent would be.
I don't know.
I think if you rewind the podcast about 20 seconds now, you hear an exact Missourian accent.
So the meeting was occurring. McElroy has rocked up to the D&G Tavern again with his wife Trina, now in her early 20s. And word of this came through to the people at the meeting. They heard that he was down there at the pub. So the townsfolk decided to disregard Sheriff Estes' advice,
Oh, dear.
and they went to the bar as a
Witch hunt.
group, basically filling the bar around him, sitting there at the bar, which I imagine would have been pretty intimidating for
Very awkward, I
the
reckon.
guy used to being the intimidating guy. So he finished up his drink and left the bar with Trina. He climbed back into his pickup truck, and McElroy turned the ignition of his truck and went to grab a cigarette, and in that moment, gunshots rang out.
Oh.
So sitting in the truck outside the D&G Tavern on the morning of July 10th, 1981, Ken Rex McElroy was shot in the head, instantly going from town bully to town dead guy sitting in his truck.
Every town needs one.
Yeah, and they had theirs. Trina later told People magazine, she said, "I started to scream. I said to Ken, they've got a gun. I think he kind of knew what was going to happen. He didn't show any fear. He never said a word." He's a real interesting character.
Wow.
Then I read that some of the townspeople sort of took Trina out of the car
Afterwards.
No ambulance was called. There are no local cops apart, the county sheriff's office or whatever. So they just, shot him and left him there.
Wow.
But the whole town meeting was around, and then people in shops, like a lot of people saw it. According to a report by the McClatchy News Agency, at the scene, county sheriff's deputies and highway patrol troopers found shell casings from a .22 caliber Magnum and an 8mm Mauser, which was a German World War I era long-range rifle.
What?
So two shooters.
Two shooters. They said one shooter had been positioned behind McElroy's truck. Another stood a half
Behind
block
the
down the
grassy knoll.
street. Yeah, basically, half block down the street.
Really? So
Yeah.
that's the long-range rifle?
And there may have been others. So they said that I think they thought that multiple shooters.
Wow.
This is amazing.
That's incredible.
Different reports have suggested there were between 30 and 60 witnesses to the murder, but Trina was the only witness who said they saw who the shooter was. The rest of the town refused to talk. This is the big secret.
I like the idea of the sheriff going, guys, come on. Who did it? Who did? Hey,
Put your hand up.
I know he was a baddie, but you won't be in trouble. Just who did it?
You won't be in trouble. So I just want to know.
I just want to know who did. Come on.
People really wanted to
Wow.
find out because although some would say he had it coming or whatever, many others say it's never okay to take the law into your own hands.
Yeah, and you know what is interesting as well? So if there was at least a couple of shooters, if not more.
Yep.
Wouldn't you, as the shooters, also be thinking like, did I get him?
Yeah.
Did one
Well,
of
that's
others?
the whole idea when you have someone who's shot.
Shooting squad.
A shooting squad is that one of them has a blank in their gun. So when you all fire, you can all tell yourself, I wasn't the one who shot him. So there's 10 people with rifles. One of them has a fake bullet.
Only one has a fake.
I've heard it was even more than that. It was only one. I thought it was one with live and the rest fake. Well, that might be wrong.
Oh, but if you only shoot, if only one person shoots and just gets their arm, they're not gonna, you know what I mean? But like
Yeah.
if 10 people shoot you,
Right.
you're likely to die very quickly.
But also just the fact that 10 people are shooting also
So-
means that
yeah, also, but
you
like
s-
you can also like just have the peace of mind that maybe you weren't the one who killed that man.
And you do that every day. And the odds
yeah, exactly.
every day.
Every day,
Yeah, still just I think I keep getting the blanks.
I get the blank every time.
every time.
I'm shooting blanks.
I'm shooting blanks.
What can I say?
I do it at home. I do it at work. I'm shooting blanks. I'm so sad.
I just want to kill people and make people pregnant.
And I just,
I can't give life. I can't take life. What's the point of it? What's the point of it all?
nah, it's fun to laugh at firing squads, isn't it?
Oh,
fun.
you gotta.
You gotta laugh.
If you don't laugh at firing squads, you'll cry at firing
Yeah, exactly.
squad.
Crying squads.
And if you don't cry at firing
Oh,
squads, you'll
crying
die at
squads.
crying squads.
Just get a game
Hurry
together.
yay, hurry yay.
Crying, good.
Thank you. A few months earlier, David Baird was asked if he would be keen to be the new prosecuting attorney of Nottoway County. I'm calling so many of the words in this. I'm pronouncing them differently every time. Nottoway.
How do you spell his surname?
Baird. B-A-I-R-D.
Very good.
Baird.
Can I hear it in a sentence?
So he
No,
was
apparently.
he was asked if he'd be keen for that job, the prosecuting attorney of the county, but he wasn't super keen. He was only 27, just a kid. In many ways, he was single. He had the freedom to go anywhere in the world, basically with his work. He just sort of got through law school, so he wasn't super keen to take the job. He didn't want to, be locked down in a small town in Missouri near basically where he grew up. He was sort of thinking of exploring, I guess. But his father persuaded him to take the job, basically saying it'd be pretty cushy. He goes, nothing much happens around here anyway.
Oh no! It's like
no.
the case of the century.
3 months later, the murder of Ken Rex McElroy in Skidmore landed Baird in the middle of a case that shocked America, making headlines across the country. Soon after, Baird made the statement, "We feel confident that this ultimately will be resolved." He was feeling good about it.
I like to imagine him sitting at his desk, like listening to all the evidence, and he's just got like a pros and cons list. going, like as people just say something in defence, he's like, "Oh, that's a good point." Right?
Yeah.
And then they say something like, "Well, actually, Ron," he's like, "Oh, very good point over here."
To me,
At the
it's
end
so
of it-
funny that he was convinced by his dad going, it'll be real cushy, mate.
Yeah.
He's like, but isn't it the whole reason he didn't want to do it? Because he
Yeah.
wanted a challenge?
It seems strange. That you're single, you're young, you can do anything you
You're
want.
a young go-getter.
Take a cushy job in a tiny town.
You're right, Dad. I'll do it.
Yeah.
He wasn't based in Skidmore. Skidmore. He was based in a slightly bigger town, but still in a small town, maybe Marysville or something like that. Soon after, he convened the first grand jury Nottoway County had seen in 20 years. So he landed with a real bang. There was a huge investigation. The FBI conducted more than 100 interviews, plus there was a coroner's inquiry, a local grand jury, and a federal grand jury, all of which failed to return any indictments, despite Trina McElroy fingering Del Clement, a part owner of the D&G Tavern and a rancher,
Del.
who she said was one of the shooters.
D&G.
Oh, that's what it'll be. D will be Del, and the G would be
Graham.
Greg.
Fuck.
Graham. Graham's
No, you're
better.
right.
Del and Graham.
Del and Greg is much better.
Del and Greg.
Fuck,
I'm
you're
I'm
good.
still on Dharma and Greg, I think.
So I was so distracted by you saying that she fingered someone. It's still funny every time. But what happened?
She said that one of the owners of the D&G.
Oh, she said...
She saw him. She's the one she eyeballed and fingered.
Right.
With Del Clement, part owner of the D&G.
Gotcha.
But despite that, despite her having her as an eyewitness,
No
no one
charges?
else corroborated her story.
Wow.
So despite there being a coroner's jury, a local grand jury, and a federal grand jury, and over 100 interviews with the FBI, still
No one cracked.
no one cracked.
Wow.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
That is actually incredible that nobody gave in.
Out of that many people.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So that's basically the story. What do you guys think? I've got a little bit to talk about.
You'd think someone would
afterwards.
cave.
Yeah.
You would really think somebody would give in.
Do you think where do you stand on that? Like,
I'm amazed actually.
would you crack? Do you think, or would you be like? Because in a way, on the other side, you also the pressure's on you to stick together.
Yeah, exactly.
As soon as
Safety
one
numbers.
cracks, then there'd be.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. If there was that many, if there was like four
And-
of you, I'd probably crack.
And also,
eventually.
if you genuinely thought that this guy was making everyone's life hell,
And he was.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I reckon he deserved it.
it's fucking tricky. But I mean
Oh,
that.
absolutely it is.
Then I wonder what if he was alive to tell the tale, he probably would have said he was a misunderstood guy.
I'm sure he would
He
say
sounded like
that.
a terrible guy.
So Harry McLean wrote a best-selling book about this case, which I think helped bring it to a bigger audience. And when asked about who actually pulled the trigger, McLean said, "I personally believe it's a mistake to put too much emphasis on who pulled the trigger, suggesting that if it hadn't happened that day, it would have been someone else the next day."
Yeah.
According to the Washington Post, McLean doesn't think the killing was a planned vigilante action on the part of the townspeople. He thinks 2 or 3 people got impulsive that day and that the town showed its loyalty by closing its ranks around them. McElroy was buried in Memorial Park Cemetery, St. Joseph in Missouri. Missouri is a cool sounding
Wow.
state. In 1984, Trina filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the town, the county, Sheriff Estes, the mayor, and Del Clement for millions and millions of dollars. The case was settled out of court without anyone admitting guilt for the relatively modest sum of $17,600.
That's not that much,
grand.
is it?
She wanted millions.
Because you do feel bad for the kids. There's heaps of them, right?
Yeah.
There's
good
heaps
point.
of kids also.
Heaps of wives, heaps of broken
Trina,
marriages.
I mean, she was so young.
I know.
He basically took her out of school. Anyway, Trina remarried and is said to have lived a really happy family life before dying of cancer on her 55th birthday in 2012.
Wow.
Richard Stratton, a retired Missouri Highway Patrol trooper, had several run-ins with McElroy and has said this of that fateful day. "Those were fathers and grandfathers on the street in Skidmore that day. Ordinary, hard-working people. They did what they did because we didn't do our job, we being the cops. Then they went home and kept their mouths shut and kept them closed all these years." So he's basically saying, I get why they did it, is because we,
Yeah.
the police force or the sheriff's department and the highway
justice
patrol, the
system
justice system didn't
It
get the
failed
job
them.
done.
Wow.
Bocamp's wife Lois said justice was done at the time.
Lois.
She was fine with it.
Wow.
But he wasn't murdered in the end, was he?
He wasn't
no,
murdered.
he was okay.
He threatened to get him again, but didn't.
And I thought I'm just gonna finish with this little quote from a New York Times article, which was by the Cheryl Houston, who was, I think, Bocamp's daughter, one of his daughters. She said, once the shroud of silence fell, there was going to be no one talking. And she actually watched the killing from her family's grocery store.
Wow.
But like everyone else, she said she didn't see the gunman. They could have pushed and dug, and gotten nothing. We were so bitter and so angry at the law letting us down that it came to somebody taking matters into their own hands, she said. No one has any idea what a nightmare we lived.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a fascinating but super fucked story.
Yeah, wow. I'd never heard of any of that.
No, that is really fascinating.
And it's still
They've
there's
still kept
been
their mouths
people
shut.
have thought someone's gonna talk on their deathbed.
Eventually.
They're gonna either want to
Say,
go,
"It was
I
me."
did it, or say, I need to get this off my conscience. But no, it's still no one has.
No one feels that it weighs on their conscience. 'cause
Yeah,
he
I
was
guess that's
such
why.
a piece of work.
Yeah, they probably. Yeah, they're not thinking I'm not getting into heaven for this
Do you reckon,
or whatever. Makes people do that.
surely the townspeople would still talk about it amongst themselves
Yeah,
quietly?
quietly.
And do you think the person who did do it is maybe seen as a bit of a hero?
Yeah, I wonder.
And so, like, they walk into the grocery store and people just kind of, give them a nod?
Yeah, give him a nod.
You know?
I wonder.
I wonder. That is fascinating.
It sounds like the town's pretty much died out, though.
I feel like I'm almost on the town side.
Oh, I 100% am.
Okay, I felt like maybe I was a bad person. If
No,
I kind of feel like if it was as we've sort of talked about it today, and he wasn't just a guy who was demonized somehow. Like I'm sort of taking
Yeah.
this at face value what I've read, but I'm always part of me is like history is always pretty dicey. It's written by the victors.
Yeah. And I think I'm taking it as a story. I'm thinking of it almost as a film. Like in my head, it's all set like To Kill a Mockingbird. Like that's how I'm picturing it. I'm even picturing really old cars and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, there was a TV film made about it called In Broad Daylight because that's when the
Yeah, right.
murder happened. I mean, that's the fact. It was like late morning.
Yeah.
Sun shining, heaps of people standing around watching.
So to me, it's just a story or just like a movie. So you kind of like, you side with the town. But if I was the journalist covering this, I would be thinking about it very differently to how I am as a complete outsider, just hearing it as a story.
It really sounds like the author kind of. I think the author of the book, who
Yeah.
probably has looked into it the most, he seems to be pretty comfortable, I think, with what the town did.
Yeah.
But I guess you'd also, I think it'd be hard because you'd be in there talking to the townspeople, hearing them tell you how fucked it was.
Yeah.
So you're possibly just gonna, get even more.
And there's that group mentality where nobody's going to be like, you know what, he wasn't that bad. I feel for the guy. You're not going to get that. Everybody would be like, yep, it was the right thing. I don't know.
But
That's
I
amazing.
mean, Trina definitely did say that he wasn't the monster that they made him out to be.
Yeah, and maybe he wasn't. I don't know.
And
I
that
think it's
was
pretty amazing that people come together like that, though. So
yeah.
to think of it that way, for all of those people to keep their mouth shut this whole time, I think maybe he was the bad person that, because if he was maybe not that bad, then there'd be a portion of the community who would go, oh, that didn't seem right.
And plus, I don't think there's any doubt that he impregnated a teenager.
Yeah.
And
he still shot people.
he shot people, it sounds like, for very little reason.
Yeah, so he
It sounds
wasn't
like-
a good person.
No, he's definitely...
Ugh.
I think he definitely was a real bad guy.
Yeah.
it reminds me of this Hercule Poirot, Agatha Christie story.
Fucking hell.
Death on the Nile.
I wouldn't say which one it is because I don't want to ruin it for people if they've ever watched the show or read the book. But
they're watching along going, all right, I mean, Dave was talking about some very specific things, and they're happening in this episode,
Well,
but maybe that was also in another episode.
Because he
It-
didn't name
It
it.
just turns out that this guy gets stabbed, a lot of stab wounds, and that it turns out that everyone did it, and they all did it together, and they all, because he was this really bad guy, he'd done something to a kid, like child kidnapping or something, and they all lined up and one after another just stabbed
Oh,
him.
what?
So they, and then
they all
when he was
shared it.
interviewing everyone, like everyone's so tight-lipped because they all did it. And
Right.
like that firing squad thing,
Yeah.
no one knows who the actual
The
final
last
one
blow,
was,
yeah.
because he's probably dead by the last few ones, so you don't know.
Ew.
Yeah. Fuck. So she was amazing though.
Is that a good story?
Such a good one.
Yeah.
So man, I love it.
Okay, mate.
But yeah, it just reminds me of that. You know, when you're practically, it's not even. It doesn't really matter who shot him. They're all kind of in on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A great story. I
Yeah, that's amazing.
really thought that was great.
Yes, so thank you so much, Josh, for that sweet suggestion. Really appreciate it.
Let us know whose side you're on. That would be cool, wouldn't it? If people want to tweet in. Do you think that's kind of cool? I want it because I'm 100% on the town side. Jess seems like she's pretty much Matt's a bit in the grey.
No, I definitely feel like if there's a guy, I feel like I probably would have been in that headspace as well. But
yeah, I don't know.
it just also, you're like, you kind of, for our society to work, we need to trust the law on some level, right?
Yeah.
Or do we?
Revolution.
Are we talking revolution?
Yeah, we're talking revolution.
All right, I'm in.
Okay, great.
Doesn't take a lot
God, that
to
was
talk
easy.
me around,
Yeah. Just drop that R word. He loves it.
but revolution.
Whoa.
Now we're going to wrap up this episode by thanking everyone that supports the show through Patreon. Appreciate everyone who does that. Chips in a little bit, even if you think this show's worth $1 or $2 a month to keep the cogs spinning and the reports getting make them get written.
It's not no bullshit. It definitely keeps the show going. That support, because it means we can afford to. For me personally, it means I can spend a couple of days writing a report and justify it. 'Cause
Yeah,
I
getting
can
sucked into
buy
it.
food for those 2 days, and sometimes drinks.
Sometimes little treats.
Oh.
We appreciate all the treats that we can get from your $1, $2, $5, $10 a month. Appreciate all that, and you get rewards in return. We do bonus stuff on the Patreon feed, like newsletters and bonus episodes, all that kind of stuff. Patreon.com/dogoonpod. If you too want to fight the good fight and support the show, and we'd like to say thank you to 3 patrons now.
I like how you framed that as fighting the good fight. That's real fun.
Keep fighting the good fight, Patreon.
It's really misleading, but it is a lot of fun. I'd love to thank. Would you mind me kicking it off, Dave?
No, please.
So yeah, I'd love to thank Beware the Locals. I think it's a group fronted by Dempsey Tapley over in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I've looked them up. We hear from Dempsey a little bit on the social media networks, such as Twitter, and
Oh.
Etc.
but I've looked up Beware the Locals in case you were interested. It's a
I'm not. Next.
I am, though.
Kidding.
it's all about
What a quip.
the local art scene in Sioux Falls, and
Awesome. But we're the locals. I get it.
Beware the Locals.
Well,
yeah.
we'd love to be a local, and we are closing in very slowly on that $7,000
Oh,
Patreon
man.
target
We gotta go to Sioux Falls.
to make us be able to tour the USA.
I'm just looking at a photo of it. It looks amazing. Let's go to Sioux Falls.
Okay, deal. While you're booking our tickets to Sioux Falls, I would also like to thank another Patreon listener who supports the show, and that is the wonderful William Flood. Billy Flood.
Oh, Billy Flood.
If you hate Billy, I am so sorry.
Willie Flood.
Willie Flood. Oh, no. That is, you should see a doctor.
Will, what happened last night? Oh, I had a Willie Flood.
My Willie is flooding.
Will he flood or won't he? Is what I thought you were doing, but I'm glad you didn't, because that would have been awful.
But thank you, William.
Interesting. So we've so far we've had the Sioux Falls, which
Yes.
is this beautiful waterfalls. Now we've got a William Flood.
Yep.
Dave, are you going to keep it in that wet, moist sort of category?
Well, if you want to keep your water at an optimum temperature, you're going to need a thermometer. And I don't like to keep my thermometer with the Celsius. I like to go Fahrenheit. Kevin Fahrenheit.
Oh my god, he's
He's
good.
like, Kevin Farron!
I didn't know how he was going to do it, and he did.
There was only 7 or 8 steps. He got it back.
Yeah, but I couldn't do that.
No, you couldn't.
If you said
Definitely
Jess, you're
not.
keep it in the wet theme, I'd be like, no, I'm going
be
to say
like,
thanks to Kevin.
Kevin-
Because I'm an idiot.
Kevin Farron, big fan of you. You're a great guy.
Thanks,
From
Kevin.
Tacoma, Washington.
Tacoma.
Tacoma.
Maybe, do you have a waterfall, Kevin? Let us know.
Bet you bloody do.
No, we appreciate your support, Kev.
Kev, mate.
Kev,
On
Billy,
you, Kev.
beware the locals. You're all cool.
You're all great.
All great people.
All great
Thanks
people.
so much for supporting. You guys are lovely.
Thanks, gang.
If we had to murder someone, do you reckon our Patreon people would keep their lips shut? I
Definitely
reckon
not.
that.
Definitely
No,
not.
they're
Nah.
trustworthy.
Very trustworthy. So trustworthy that we're going to go up to Sydney to visit them soon.
That's right.
That's how much we trust them. That we know Sydney exists.
See, Dave and I can do the segues.
Oh, yeah. Well, I know we are going to talk about that. We are trying to lock in a Sydney live show.
I reckon we will have locked it in by the time this is out, which makes me bring it up pretty stupid. Dates will be on the internet. If you look up our Facebook, where can you find us on Facebook, Dave?
Facebook, we are at Do Go On Pod, facebook.com/DoGoOnPod. We're also on Twitter and Instagram at Do Go On Pod, but all the links to this and our Patreon are below in the description of the episode. And email is dogoonpod@gmail.com. Yeah.
I might, and if we have figured out dates, I might even just drop them in after this.
Mr. Blanc.
I'll put them in now. Hi, this is Matt later on. Nah, it's still me. Good on ya.
No, but put it in now.
But please,
Hey, how's it? Oh, bloody!
give him a
Why is
sec for
Dave
editing.
here in the future?
I just want to say, please, Duke in Sydney, or if you're in New South Wales around the Sydney area, please come on in to see us do a live show. Wouldn't that be awesome?
That'd be
That'd be
great.
super cool.
Because if that goes well, then we can do the rest of Australia, and if that goes well, then we can do the rest of the world.
I'm not going to do them. I'm going to visit them.
I'm going to do them. One by one. Form a line.
Dave, no.
Oh, consensual.
Oh, Dave, stop talking.
How did the word consensual make that worse? I just don't know.
I mean, they're
hate
forming a
this.
line.
Yeah.
Surely consent was.
Yeah, good call. They don't have to. But still, okay, well, they're not Dave, but everyone else. What are you doing?
Yeah,
Why are you lining up for this?
You dirty sickos.
Nah, they're not sick. They're just giving in to nature.
Oh.
Look, I don't know how we got here, but we are, and we have to leave now. So thank you so much for listening to this episode. We do appreciate all your correspondence and topic ideas, because, for example, we would never have heard, I doubt we would have ever come across that story if it hadn't been suggested.
Yeah.
So if you know something that's from your local area, if you're from a different country to us and you know a story, we have a lot of listeners like in Sweden and stuff. Is there any cool local stories we could do about your area? Let us know.
We do tend to hit up UK and American
Yeah, we'd
stories
love to
mainly.
hear like overseas ones, like stuff in Asia.
Overseas ones. You know,
Unlike
outside
the
of
UK.
America and the UK.
You know, but to them, we are overseas. That's how it works.
Never
It goes
thought about
both
it like
ways.
that.
We are exotic to them.
What?
They think this accent is adorable.
No, they don't.
That's why they're forming a line.
Oh.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for listening. I will say until next week.
But before we go, Jess,
Damn it! I was hoping you'd forget.
D and G, what do you got?
The G I wanted to go for goats, but then I couldn't think of a D that went with that. And then when Dave was saying that, I was groaning. I was like, the groan, something in groans. Fuck, I hate this game so much. Dave, you've got another one, don't you?
Dracula and Goblins.
Fuck you.
Dracula and
That's pretty cool.
It's not bad.
It's pretty good. All right, I'm going to leave a little bit of space here for the music, and then after the music, Jess will come back to yours.
don't.
A little secret bit at the end. Anyway, thanks so much for listening, everybody. Goodbye and laters.
Bye.
Why?
Soon
The
after.
dark and gloomy.
Yeah, that's good.
Good.
This podcast is part of the Planet Broadcasting Network.
Visit planetbcasting.com for more podcasts from our great mates. I mean, if you want. It's up to you.
Hello. And welcome.
Well,
That's how she
So
became
the
the nanny.
nanny.
I'm really going to do it. Are you ready, Matt?
Yeah.